Hello students, today we are going to study the first chapter of class 11, the living world. As we all know, on this particular planet, we find living beings such as cats, dogs, as well as non-livings also such as sand, mountains, boulders, etc. Now a very important question arises here. How can we distinguish the non-living from the living ones? The answer is quite simple. We can distinguish them on the basis of some characteristics which are as follows. The first one is growth. The second one is reproduction. The third one is metabolism. The fourth one is cellular organization. And the last one is consciousness. Growth and reproduction, these are considered to be the non-defining or non-definitive characteristics, while the other three are considered to be the definitive or defining characteristics of living organisms. Now we will study all these characteristics one by one. The twin characteristics of growth are increase in size as well as number. In plants, growth takes place throughout their whole life. In animals, it is up to a certain age. In unicellular organisms, growth can be easily observed by simply counting the number of cells via in vitro experiments or cultures. Growth can be easily observed by simply counting the number of cells with the help of microscope, via in vitro cultures or experiment. The non-living beings also show growth, but here the growth is not internal but external one. This external growth takes place by accumulation or deposition of materials on its outer surface. And the examples are mountains, boulders, sand dunes, etc. Since the non-living beings also show growth, even though the growth is an external one, but still it is growth. So growth is not considered to be the definitive feature. On the contrary, it is considered to be the non-definitive characteristic of living organisms. Now let us turn our gaze to the second characteristic, reproduction. What is reproduction? It is the ability of an organism to produce an offspring which is more or less similar to itself. What is reproduction? It is the ability of an organism to produce an offspring which is more or less similar to itself. Most multicellular organisms reproduce by sexual means. What happens in sexual reproduction? Fusion of gametes takes place. The male as well as female gametes, they fuse, and as a result of that, of an offspring is formed. But organisms also reproduce by asexual means. What happens in asexual reproduction? In asexual reproduction, only a single parent is required. There is no fusion of gametes. So organisms reproduce asexually by fragmentation, by budding, as well as by regeneration. By fragmentation, it takes place in filamentous algae, and protonema of mosses. By budding in hydra and yeast, and by regeneration in planaria, which is considered a flatworm. What happens in fragmentation? The parent body is broken down into various fragments, and each fragment develops into a fully grown organism. What happens in budding? A bud or outgrowth takes place on the external surface, sometimes internal also, on the parent body, and slowly and gradually that particular bud or outgrowth develops into a fully grown organism. What happens in regeneration? The parent body loses a part of itself, and after some time that lost part regenerates. If we cut the planaria, the organism planaria, into several pieces, what happens? Each piece develops into a fully grown organism after due course of time. Now the non-living beings don't show reproduction, but there are some organisms such as mules, infertile couples, sterile bees, and these are incapable of reproduction. That means they are unable to reproduce. Because of this particular feature of these organisms, that they are incapable of reproducing an offspring, reproduction is also considered not a definitive feature but the non-definitive or defining characteristic of living organisms. Now let us turn our gaze to the third one. We all know that in our body certain biochemical reactions occur all the time. So what is metabolism? It is the sum total of all biochemical activities going on in our body. So it is the sum total of all biochemical activities that occur in our body. It includes anabolism, which is the simple to complex reaction, and which is found in the case of photosynthesis in plants, and it also includes catabolism. Which is complex to simple reaction or breakdown reaction, and it is seen in the case of respiration. Since non-living organisms don't show metabolism, so metabolism is considered to be the definitive characteristic of living organism. Now let us turn our gaze to the fourth one. The cellular organization. As we all know, cells are the building blocks of organisms. Cells may be unicellular, as in the case of amoeba, or multicellular, as in the case of human beings. Cells also contain, what do they contain? Protoplasm. What is protoplasm? It is the living matter, and they also contain cell organelles. These cell organelles are part of the cell, and they perform various cellular activities, which finally result into various life processes. Since non-living beings don't show the characteristic of cellular organization, so cellular organization is the definitive characteristic of living organism. Now let us study the last one. Consciousness. We all know that organisms respond to various stimuli such as heat, light, water, etc. When there is extreme heat, when we feel extreme heat, suppose that we put our hand on an oven, suddenly we feel the heat and we remove our hand quickly. Suddenly sharp light enters our eyes. What do? We close our eyes. When water is thrown on a dog or a hare, what happens? That particular organism runs quickly. So these are ample evidence to prove that organisms respond to various kind of stimuli. But human beings are far superior to other organisms because they have an additional quality of self-consciousness. They are able to rationalize things or situations, and they take decision accordingly using their own logic or reasoning. But the non-living beings don't have the capacity to respond to various stimuli. So they don't have the characteristic of consciousness. So consciousness is the definitive characteristic of living organism. So today we have gone through the various characteristics of the living organisms. We have discussed growth, reproduction, metabolism, cellular organization, as well as consciousness. So that's all for today. If you like this particular video, like it. I would appreciate that, and subscribe my channel also. That's all for today. Thank you.